there folks, how's things? Just on the way to Carlow to senior hurling training Tuesday evening. Pissing rain, and it's actually my last trip to Carlow this year for training. We're playing our last game on Sunday in Belfast against Antrim, so another box ticked and another lovely experience, and great, really enjoyable year, and I'm very grateful for it. And you know, it was really enjoyable, and looking forward to tonight. You know, it's nice to have something to look forward to again, and you know, heading off to training knowing that it's not a big issue with anybody, and it's just I'm doing what I want to do and don't have to answer to anybody about it, and it's great, you know. And I'll explain myself. Yeah, just getting back to I suppose the purpose of this video. I've been inundated with requests to do a Facebook and TikTok live, and just firstly I know damn all about going live on those things. I know anything in the name of Jesus about them, and secondly I kind of often wonder at times why people are so anxious to hear my story and to hear me going on about more stuff. You know, I suppose I don't give myself enough value. I don't know. Obviously I'm helping a lot of people, and it's nice to be asked, and you know, and kind of a privilege really for somebody that came from where I came from, that I couldn't be trusted to drown kittens, you know, whereas now people are interested in listening to my experience of life and how it helps them, you know. And yeah, somebody I posted that Cautionary Tale video that I did 5 or 6 years ago there on TikTok recently, and a lot of people shared it, and it's kind of gone viral. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of views in it, and loads and loads and loads of people contacted me to know would I maybe update it a bit. And do you know what, I have a couple of hours in the car now, and here goes. That's more a story of where I came from drink-wise, and what it used to be like, what happened, and what it's like now, you know. And when I did it 5 or 6 years ago, obviously what was like now, or what was like then, isn't what it's like now. There's lots of water gone under the bridge, and you know, things have changed, and so, you know, maybe it's time to update it a little bit, and to you know, to go to the next step. I suppose sure everyone knows who I am. Noel Considine from Clarecastle in County Clare originally, and at the moment living and working in Galway, and I'm a recovering alcoholic. Alcoholic's a word I hate, but I am what I am, and wouldn't be proud of it. It wouldn't have been my life's ambition. It isn't something I'd like to stick on my CV, but I have to acknowledge it. I'm an alcoholic who suffers from a disease called alcoholism. And the WHO, World Health Organization, recognise alcoholism as the third biggest killer disease in the world, behind cancer and heart disease. And you know, and I'd probably hasten to say that maybe the amount of heart disease and cancer that's caused by alcoholism, maybe it's even higher than 3. You know, and that's what I suffer from. It's a killer disease. You know, alcohol is in one of 3 places. It's either in getting sober, in jail, or in a brown box. You know, at some stages in my life I've been close to all 3. Close to all 3, and you know, I followed drink into the gates of insanity, and I could have followed it to the gates of death, you know, because I thought I was one of those misfortunates that was never going to get sober. You know, I thought I was never going to get this sobriety crack. I genuinely thought I was one of the misfortunates that was going to pass by. But thankfully I was given the gift of sobriety, and you know, it's my job and it's my responsibility, both to myself and to those near and dear to me, to mind it at any cost. And you know, in general I do. And I'm massively grateful. I'm grateful that the compulsion to drink was taken away, and that I don't have to fight a battle with that every day or every month or every year. That there's every time in the past that compulsion came on me, I lost. You know, I always ended up going drinking, and the destroying everything that was good in my life and everything I had built up in the previous months or weeks or days, or just all went tits up again, and to start off again and dust myself off, you know. I was brought up in ordinary, middle of the road, middle class family in Clarecastle. There was my father, my mother. I was the eldest. I have a sister and a brother, and we also had twins that died prematurely about 47 or 8 years ago. Twin girls that wouldn't be very well known, and we weren't a wealthy family by any means. My father was a real hard-working, quiet man who did his best for us. He did his best for us. My mother was very hard-working, and she was tough. She was strict, much more strict than my father. And we didn't have much, but we had enough. Had I a happy childhood? Was reasonably happy. I was very happy when I was with my grandmother down the Key Road. That was my safe place. That was my safe haven when I was down with Josie, and she was my grandmother from my father's side.
In 3 kilometres, at junction 14, exit toward R357, Ballinasloe, east.
That's just the sat-nav pipping in there. You'd think I'd nearly know where I was going at this stage to Carlow, but creature of habit with the sat-nav on. But my safe place was down at my grandmother's. I loved her to bits, and she loved me to bits, and I went everywhere with her, and she just had me by the hand, bringing me around the country, and I didn't have to be asked twice. Most people would say she spoiled me. She could spoil away. I was happy to be spoiled by her anyway. Then my other grandparents, Dysart and Ryan, my Pa and Rita Crow, my mother's mother and father, I liked going up there as well, but there was 8 in my mother's family. My father was an only child, so there was much more attention to be knocked around in my mother's side because there was a lot more grandchildren, But I enjoyed my holidays and that up there, and going over to my Uncle Desi next door and the likes, so. I was very fearful as a child, I was afraid at home. I was afraid at school. I was afraid of the teachers at school in Clarecastle. Even though they weren't in any way strict or violent, I was just afraid. And I was afraid of the dark. So, if you take a young lad of 8, 9, 10 years of age, I was afraid at home, I was afraid at school, and I was afraid in bed. So the common denominator to my life was fear, wasn't it?
In 800 metres, at junction 14, exit toward R357, Ballinasloe, east.
Your one is roaring here with the sat-nav again. But, so fear was a big part of my life, I was afraid. I was very insecure, and my confidence was low, and I had a big problem with
Exit at junction 14.
I had a big problem with my weight, and I was very conscious of that. And I was regarded and bullied about that. My confirmation suit had to be made.
In 500 metres, at the roundabout, take the first exit.
Jesus, this lady is like an egging wife or something, but the lady with the sat-nav there. But I think she shut up now. But yeah, my confirmation suit had to be made. Couldn't get one to fit me. So yeah, I was very, very, very insecure and shy and awkward growing up. That added to the fear. That left a deep trauma, a deep wound inside me that I suppose has followed me around most of my life, But so I tugged along and very awkward around women, girls, conscious of my weight, conscious of being overweight, didn't think they liked me or fancied me, and I'd blush around women, particularly good-looking girls around Clarecastle. I'd blush, and I was just really shy and quiet. And I got over that as time went by. Kind of got to like them a bit, but at that time I was very, 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 very shy and insecure around them, and that made me feel worse about myself and awkward. But as time went by, I suppose the only thing that was anyway good in my life was the hurling. I discovered very quickly I was a pretty decent goalkeeper, and probably a bit more than a decent goalkeeper. I was a very good goalkeeper, and I was playing on teams years above my age, and I was playing senior at 15, like I'm fully convinced that I was in goal for the 1984 county final, and I was 14 and a half, we'd have beaten the Bridge. I'll never, ever, ever change from that. I think if I was in goal that day, Clarecastle would have beaten the Bridge. I'd have stopped 2 of the 3 goals, probably the 3 of them. But I wasn't. People saw in their wisdom to not have me on the panel. I was eligible to play and I was big enough and strong enough. I felt I should have been. So now, not having to go at anyone saying that, but yeah, I think that I'd have won another one if I was playing, or that I'd have won it before 86. Yeah, I played senior for Clarecastle round, I think I got games in 84 and 85, but I broke onto the team in 86 and we won a senior championship and we won a minor championship the same year, and you know, so my hurling career was, I suppose it was the one place that I felt comfortable. It's the one place that I felt comfortable in my own skin, you know. I knew I was a good goalkeeper, and when I was inside in the goal, it's the one place I just felt was my little safe haven, you know. It was the one place I felt right, you know. And to this day, that's why I have such a love for hurling and such a love for playing in goal and coaching goalkeepers, and it was my safe haven, you know. But around 15 then I discovered drink, and it was like somebody waved a magic wand over me, you know. It took away all the fears and the inhibitions and the shyness and the awkwardness, and it made me into the person I always wanted to be, or so I thought, you know. Just took away everything. It took away all the bad feeling, and you know, so I was kind of, I suppose, from 15 or 16 on I was drinking with adults, and very quickly it became a problem, you know. I mean, I was doing all day Saturday sessions after matches, all day Sunday and Monday clubs before I was 18, you know, and lads my own age didn't want to drink with me, and I was drinking with older people and in the pubs with older guys, and my first interactions with women were all with older women, because I was in pubs that I was just way out of my age bracket, you know. But also the trouble started, you know. I found that when I drank I couldn't stop, you know. I was never able to go in for one or two. It was in for the full hog, and I had to get drunk, you know. I drank to get drunk. I drank for effect. I drank to get drunk, and as time went by the trouble started, and you know, by the time I was 18 I'd been hospitalised and dried out for the first time, and by the time I was 21 I had 9 hospitalisations in a treatment centre, and trouble with the law, and got into trouble driving a car and bits and pieces like that, you know. So from a very early stage drink was a problem, you know, and ruined everything for me really. It was starting to interfere with my hurling. I was dropped in 87 for a county senior hurling final. I was caught out drinking the night before it. Couldn't blame the manager Jack Maloney for dropping me for that. He caught me in the fucking pub, so you know, he had no choice really, had he? But you know, at the time I blamed everybody else. It was everybody else's fault, you know. I left a drying out ward in Our Ladies in 1988 of a Thursday to play an under-21 senior, or an under-21 hurling final with Clarecastle the Saturday evening. Nobody bar the manager of the Clarecastle team knew, you know. So and that led to a lot of lack of trust and a lot of problems with the club in Clarecastle. I eventually left them, you know, and went back again as I got older, but eventually left and just went elsewhere. But it's like, you know, geographical changes. It's like, you know, I went elsewhere, the drink followed me as well, and everywhere I went the drink followed me, you know. When you're an alcoholic, geographical changes don't work. The problem comes with you, and it took me a long time to realise that, you know. And then around that time as well I met Aaron's mum, I met Cathy, and within a year Aaron was born, and then I was kind of a binge drinker, going on and off it like a yo-yo for years, in and out of AA, in and out of hospitals, in and out of treatment centres. I was trying to be the best father I could, but a lot of the time I was an absent father, you know, because I could be off drink for 6 months and then go missing for 2 weeks, you know, and that wasn't fair. That wasn't fair, you know. It wasn't fair to Aaron, it wasn't fair to Cathy, it wasn't fair to anybody really, and I justified it. Sure, I'm not going home causing trouble or wrecking the house. Sure, how the fuck would I? I wasn't going home at all, you know. So I wouldn't have been the ideal father or the ideal partner, no. Very inconsistent and very inconsistent. You know, and same with jobs, you know. I got into car sales, and while I was off drink everything was great, and when I was on it everything wasn't. You know, and went through a fair haul of jobs. I was always able to get one because I'm damn good at it. But I never got sacked off one, but I was moved on before the you know what, it hit the fan, you know. that's the way my life just carried on for years and years and years and years. A binge drinker, on drink, off it, promises, breaking promises. Do you know that word, sorry? Well, I was the best in the world. I'm sorry. Do you know the best way to say sorry is not have to say it at all? It took me a long time to realise that, you know. I suppose ultimately I admitted I was an alcoholic, but I didn't accept it, you know. And you know, I could be here until 10 o'clock tonight telling you all about the John Wayne stories and how I got money for drink and how I stayed drinking and all the things that happened and all the car crashes and all the driving offences and all the trouble with the law and all the broken relationships and all the letdowns in the hurling, and just everything went wrong. And they all went wrong. The common denominator to them all going wrong, there was two common denominators. One was me and the other was drink. The only thing that was consistent was that when I drank, I messed up. That was the only consistency in my life. And as I say, I carried that to the gates of insanity and very nearly death a few times. And that's not exaggeration, you know. You know, I was damn lucky I didn't end up in jail a few times. Driving offences particularly. You know, I was lucky. You know, people give out about guards and all that. They were never too bad to me. They always saw the good in me, I suppose, and they gave me an old break, but they were getting sick of it too. You know, it was hard to blame them. But you know, there was 6 treatment centres before the last one. You know, 6 treatment centres. That means I was gone from my missus and my son 6 times for a month. It was great, wasn't it? You know, and every time I went in with the intention of trying to stop drink, but I never went in really committed, because I always kind of thought, I'll find a way to drink, and I tried every way to stay drinking, every possible imaginable way to stay drinking. I tried it, and I just couldn't, you know. You know, and the damage I did to people, like, it was grand me drinking and, you know, wine, women and song and going all over the country and being the life and soul of the party, but that was my choice, you know. But I brought the problems with drink into people's lives, my home life, all my family. It was uninvited. It was brought into their life uninvited. They didn't want it, they didn't deserve it, they didn't invite it in, you know. I brought it in uninvited, and you know, I would have massive guilt and remorse for that, but thankfully today I have basically made my amends, and you know, the best amends is that I'm consistent. They know I'm fine with the drinking. They know that a day at a time I'm doing my very best to stay off it. And it was a genuine, sincere attempt the last time to give it up. And you know, after I built back a bit of trust with them, it seems to have worked. You know, and like right this minute, you know, I've lots of things good in my life. You know, I've a lovely little cottage. I've a nice car. I've a very good job. You know, I settled into a lovely car sales job in Galway City, you know, and I have my son back in my life. He was never out of it, but he washed his hands of my behaviour for a couple of months before I stopped drinking, and the first couple of months after, until he saw that he could trust me. And like, we speak once or twice a day on the phone, and to me that's probably the most important thing, you know. I've 2 absolutely fantastic granddaughters, you know. I've Eva, who's 9, and she's my world. Everybody knows when I think of Eva. And she's a little sister, Sophie, that was born 4 months ago, who's just as gorgeous, you know. And I'm still like about the 2 of them, you know. And my mother is still alive, and my sister, my brother, and a good relationship with Aaron's mother. We would have a very good, healthy relationship, and we would do anything for each other, I'd say, really, you know. Very good friends in my life. You know, things go right, things go wrong. Some things went wrong lately, you know. What I had to do was regarding that is own my part in it, you know. I wasn't perfect in it, and I certainly had a part to play in what went wrong, but I acknowledge that, and I've accepted it, and I've moved on from. I'm trying to better myself and make myself into a better person because of it, and I'm doing a damn good job of it. You know, I kind of found that those fears and insecurities and that trauma from childhood. Trauma is a wound, Trauma is a wound. It means we're wounded. It's not what happened to us at all, It's not whether we were abused or whether we were bullied or whether we were whatever. It's actually the wound that caused. That's trauma. And I was deeply wounded, deeply scared, and my reaction to that would be fight, flight or freeze, and usually it would be fight. And the fight was verbal, and unfortunately I carried that into relationships at times, and it didn't work. And but once I became aware of it, I sought help, because it's no good being sober, it's no good being off drink and being an asshole. I didn't get sober I got sober to enhance people's lives and to make their lives better, and my own life better as well, not to upset them and to be not to upset them and to make their lives worse. And and if I'm doing that, I have to have a look at myself, and I'm well prepared to, I'm big into the self-awareness, and I'm big into bettering myself, and to anything that's wrong will be fixed, and some of those journeys are tough and they're long and they're hard. I did a lot of talking lately on grief and on having to rewrite my personal history and rewrite my contract with reality, really. There was bits about self-image, and there was bits about rejection, and there was bits of everything, really. And but it's all about learning, it's all about learning, and it's all about, and right this minute I'm just trying to get back into a life of reconnection, and that reconnection is I cocooned myself in something for the last couple of years that I just became entwined in a very small world, and suddenly when that small world wasn't there anymore, I had to get out of it, and then I realised that my world had become really small because all the connections and my people that I was close to, I had lost contact with them, and I'm trying to rebuild that again, and to just be kind and be good to myself, because if I don't love myself and don't care for myself, it's very hard to care for anybody else, and I'm trying to live my best life now, and just have my own few interests, and there's the hurling, and say there's work, and I do a bit of dancing. I love it. I'm doing it a few nights a week now, and I'm actually booked a seminar to go to see Gab Armette in Dublin the 20th of June, Thursday, 3 weeks. He's into that. He's the head. He's the top expert on childhood trauma and addiction, and probably in the world. And he's 80 now, but so I'm really looking forward to that. I can't wait, and just little things that I'm doing for myself that I wasn't doing up to now, and it's nice. It's nice to have the freedom and the want and the willingness to do it, but really and truly, I won't be better unless I do the right things. I kind of find if you do the right things will happen, and when I do the right things do happen. When I do the wrong things happen as well, and it's to be aware, like I'm on a journey of progress rather than perfection, and that's both physically, mentally, spiritually. We claim spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection. Just willing to be a bit better every day, and I'm never going to be perfect, and who wants to be perfect anyway, but once I can put my head in the pillow at night and realise that I didn't hurt or harm anybody today intentionally, but also I have to make sure I don't hurt or harm anybody unintentionally, and the big one for me is triggers, how I react to triggers, because those triggers are there, and that trauma is there, and I have to really, 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 really work on that at times, like if things that just scare me as a young fella, if I see, particularly the person that scared me the most, if I see the look they used to have in somebody else's face or in their eyes, it triggers me and can build up fear, and my reaction to fear then is fight or flight, So I have to be careful of that and try to see the good in people, not the bad. You know, we love the things we love for what they are, not for what they should be, they ought to be, or they used to be. And if I can see the good in people rather than the bad, I'll never react wrong anyway. And you know what? I'm really working that well at the minute. You know, I've had a few instances lately where people acted the bollocks in me and used me and manipulated me and premeditatedly fooled me. But I'm not letting myself get angry with them. I feel sorry for them really, that they had to resort to that, to somebody that cared deeply for them and wouldn't have messed them around anyway, you know. It's more of a reflection on them than me, I think. But my reaction to it is what I'm practicing. There's no anger, there's no bitterness, there's, you know, just kind of letting go of them gently. And it's not easy at times, but it's what I have to do for me. You know, it's what I have to do for me. That's, everyone is where they're at. And, like, I was at bad places and people had to leave me where I was at too. You know, I am where I am in life, and you can only be where you're at. You can't be where somebody else wants you to be. I mean, this journey I'm on, you know, I fully believe like that I live my life in the principles of the AA program, you know. There's 12 steps that, you know, the first one is, you know, we admit we're powerless over alcohol. It's the only time alcohol is mentioned in the 12 steps. I'm powerless over alcohol, I can't drink safely. The second part of that first step is, and my life is unmanageable. And my life can be very, very, very unmanageable. Then the second step is, came to believe that a power greater than myself can restore me to sanity. That's God, the God of my life. He restores me to sanity. Because insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. You know, and each morning I hand over my day to Him, and I hand over my will and my life, and ask Him to help me get through the day without a drink and not to hurt or harm anybody. And each night I give Him thanks for that. A few little prayers I have in between, you know. Then, I suppose, as part of my recovery, I did a searching and fearless moral inventory. That was that I had a look at my past. You know, when I had that done, I wrote all that down, and I admitted to God, to myself, and to another human being the exact nature of my wrongs. That, you know, I had a look at my past, and I acknowledged all the messes and the fuck-ups I made, and, you know, spoke about them and accepted them, and, you know, then asked God to relieve me of these defects of character and shortcomings. My defects of character are the things I do, and my shortcomings are the things I don't do, you know. Then I made a list of all persons I had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all, and, you know, I have made amends, and I've made amends to more or less everybody. It's probably one or two more, but I actually made amends to somebody recently that was in my life 5 or 6 years ago. I made amends to her recently, and she accepted it, and she was very grateful, and, you know, we've contacted each other a bit since, and we're good because of it. Now, if other people I've made amends to, they told me to fuck off. But if I went and made those amends with a good, honest heart and a good motive, with no expectation, that I wasn't doing it to seek approval or to seek anything, I was doing it out of the goodness of my heart, well then, even if I'm told no, it doesn't matter. I've met him, you know. So we make direct amends to such people then, wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. In other words, you know, I don't go making amends to somebody to tell them something that would make my life easier that might upset them, you know. That's crazy, like. And then the 10th step is I continue to take personal inventory, and when I'm wrong, promptly admit it. So every night before I go to sleep, I have a look back at my day and, you know, see what I did, good, bad and indifferent, and if I'm wrong, admit it and apologise. Then the 12th is I sought through prayer and meditation to improve my conscious contact with God as I understand Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for me and the power to carry that out. Basically just live a good clean life, for as clean as I can. And the 12th then is, you know, as the result of the steps, I try to carry the message to other alcoholics and to practice these principles in all my affairs. And I suppose carrying the message, I don't go out shaking the bushes. You know, I do it by example, and maybe a couple of these videos or whatever, and you know, if it helps people, great. It certainly helps me. that's kind of where my life is really. I'm really excited at the minute. My life it's changed, but it's, you know what? I think what has happened was meant to happen, because I'd never have looked at myself the way I do if it hadn't, you know. And, I'm sorry that to get to this point that some of my behaviours and actions had to hurt other people, and they caused something to go wrong for all of us that none of us wanted, but there's never an ill wind, or you know when one door opens, it closes, it opens another, and sometimes what's going on in your life is a chapter, it's not the full book. I've gone on to a new chapter now, and it isn't where I would have envisaged, or it probably isn't where I would have wanted, but it's where it is, and that's part of my life, is to accept where I am and to accept God's will for me. That's what's going on now is God's will, and you know, if anything is to change the universe, will sort that out for me or for us. Hope I made a bit of sense to somebody. I made a bit to myself anyway, and that's just to follow up on the cautionary tale bit. It's just where I am now in life, and very grateful. Life is not bad, like life is damn good, and you know, long may it continue. So I'll go down now and put my Carlow goalkeepers through a pretty strenuous training session. Seems this is the last one. You know, I leave them something to never forget me by. For this year anyway. Not saying it's the end. It's never the end, you know. It's never the end. There's always something else where the hurling is concerned. And it's like everything in life, there's nothing ever the end. There's always a new beginning, and you know, I wish everybody well, and I mean everybody, you know, good, bad and indifferent. I wish everybody well and happiness, and you know, I just wish and hope that everybody gets out of life what they deserve. Catch you soon. Bye.